Let me ask you something honestly. Do you ever catch yourself comparing your life to other people even when you know it is not helping you? Maybe you see someone making more money, moving faster, looking more confident, or building something impressive, and before you even realize it, your mind starts ranking. Them versus you. Their timeline versus your timeline. Their life versus your life. And what makes it worse is that this habit is not always loud. Sometimes it shows up as envy, sometimes as self-doubt, sometimes as irritation, sometimes as that quiet feeling that you are somehow behind, even when nothing in your own life has actually gone wrong. I think a lot of people today are exhausted not because they are lazy, but because they are constantly being pulled into comparison. And comparison creates a very specific kind of suffering. It drains your energy without building your life. So in this video, I do not just want to tell you to be more confident or stop caring what people think. I want to talk about something deeper. What if the real problem is not that you are losing? What if the real problem is that you are trapped in the wrong competition? And what if the way out is not to win harder, but to become more fully yourself? Most people think competition becomes intense because there are too many people. More people means more competition. That sounds reasonable, but I do not think that is the real reason. Real competition comes from sameness. It becomes brutal when lots of people are being pushed through the same path, trained on the same model, judged by the same standards, and rewarded by the same scoreboard, the same school system, the same career ladder, the same definition of status, the same image of success, the same milestones, the same idea of what a valuable life is supposed to look like. Once that happens, life stops feeling like creation and starts feeling like ranking. You are no longer asking, what do I want to build? You are asking, where do I stand compared with everyone else? And the moment you live inside that system, your mind becomes very vulnerable to comparison. Because comparison is not a personal weakness. It is the natural result of being placed inside a structure designed to measure people against each other. That is why so many people feel pressure all the time. It is not only emotional, it is structural. They are living inside a sorting machine. You have probably heard some version of this idea before, especially from Naval Ravikant. The more your work is aligned with your nature, the less competition you face. A lot of people hear that and treat it like feel-good advice. Just be yourself, be authentic, do your thing, the world will reward you. But I think the deeper meaning is much more practical than that. Being yourself is not mainly a personality statement. It is a structural move. It means you are stepping off the most crowded comparison axis. When your inputs are unique, when your way of thinking is not standardized, and when your output cannot be easily templated, you become much harder to compare directly. At that point, you are no longer fighting dozens of people for the exact same spot on the same ladder. You are building from a different center. That is why being yourself can actually reduce competition. Not because the world suddenly becomes kind, but because you are no longer standing in the most crowded lane. You did not beat everyone else at their game. You stepped outside a game that was built on sameness. Now, let us go a level deeper, because comparison is not only an outside problem. It becomes painful because it creates conflict inside you. A simple way to think about it is this. One part of you is logical, one part of you is emotional, and one part of you is instinctive. Your logical mind says, I should work on this. Your emotions say, I do not feel like it. Your instincts reach for your phone, distractions, snacks, or anything that gives quick relief. And then you end up in that strange state where you are tired but not fulfilled, busy but not moving, restless but not clear. That is what inner friction feels like. So when I say find yourself, I do not mean some vague spiritual slogan. I mean finding a direction where your mind, emotions, and actions are not constantly fighting each other. When those parts begin to move in the same direction, your energy changes. You stop wasting strength trying to force yourself through every step. You feel more focused, more stable, and much less divided. This is one of the hidden reasons that people who seem deeply aligned often look calmer. It is not that life is easier for them. It is that they are not fighting themselves every day. This becomes easier to see when you look at people who built something distinctive. Take Steve Jobs. He did not try to win by making computers that were only faster or cheaper. He merged technology, design, intuition, and taste into one product philosophy. That was a different axis. Or Think about someone like Mr. Beast. He did not become successful by being a slightly better version of existing creators. He built a style, pacing, and scale that created a category people instantly recognized as his. You can even see this in writers, artists, entrepreneurs, and thinkers. The ones who become truly memorable usually do not just work harder inside the standard format. They bring together a combination that feels difficult to copy. That is really the point. Their power is not only talent, it is non-standard combination. And once you see that, comparison starts to look very different, because the highest value people are often not the most obedient players in the game. They are the ones who slowly build a game that reflects their own way of seeing. If being yourself is so powerful, then why do so many people still feel lost? One big reason is that people commit too early before they understand their own structure. They lock into a path, a profession, a set of goals, a social identity, or a comparison group long before they have really explored what fits them. And once that commitment hardens, life becomes a local optimization problem. You are no longer asking, is this the right direction for me? You are only asking, how do I perform better inside this direction? That can look impressive from the outside. You can become disciplined, productive, and accomplished. But inside, something may still feel off. You might be working very hard in a system that does not match you. This is why some people achieve what they thought they wanted and still feel strangely empty. They did not fail. They just optimized the wrong map. And I think that is important to say because a lot of smart people are not confused because they lack ability. They are confused because they are highly capable inside systems that do not fully fit them. This conversation matters even more in modern life because we have more choice and more exposure than ever before. In older societies, a lot of people had very little room to search. Your location, your role, your class, your work, even your worldview were much more constrained. Today, the world is more open. Information moves fast. Skills can be transferred. People can publish ideas directly. A single person can build an audience, a business, a body of work, or an unconventional career without waiting for permission from a traditional institution. That freedom is exciting, but it also creates pressure. Because now, the number of possible lives you could live is much larger, and with that comes more uncertainty, more temptation, and more comparison. So the modern problem is not just competition, it is overstimulation plus imitation. You are constantly seeing what everyone else is doing, which makes it harder to hear your own signal. That is exactly why becoming yourself matters now. Not as a luxury, but as a survival skill. This is the point where most advice becomes unhelpful. People say, follow your passion, but that is too vague. Or they say, do what you are good at. But that can also mislead you because many things you are good at are simply things you have practiced. A more useful question is this: what do you notice that other people seem able to tolerate, but you cannot? What feels wrong to you so strongly that you want to fix it? Maybe you are unusually sensitive to confusion, inefficiency, ugly design, weak reasoning, poor storytelling, bad leadership, emotional disconnection, or broken systems. That sensitivity matters. It is not random. A lot of the time, your deeper strengths are hidden inside the kinds of problems that bother you so much that you cannot help engaging with them. Not just complaining about them, but actually trying to improve them. That is an important distinction. Complaining is cheap. The signal becomes real when you keep moving toward the problem and trying to make it better. In other words, one way to find yourself is to pay attention to where your pain consistently turns into action. I think this point is really powerful because many people look for talent only in enjoyment. They ask, what do I like? But liking something is often too shallow. A stronger signal is this: what bothers you so much that you cannot leave it alone? What kind of disorder, waste, ugliness, confusion, or limitation keeps pulling your attention? If you repeatedly see a problem, feel disturbed by it, try to improve it, and then get energy from the act of improving it, that is a meaningful pattern. For one person, that might be systems. For another, it might be language. For someone else, design, human behavior, education, fairness, health, or product experience. The point is not that pain itself is magical. The point is that pain reveals what your nervous system considers important. And when you pair that sensitivity with action, it often leads you toward your underlying strengths. So instead of asking only, what am I talented at? Maybe ask, What kind of bad situation am I unusually unable to tolerate? That question can be surprisingly revealing. Another helpful way to think about this is to separate surface skills from deeper abilities. Surface skills are the visible things: coding, writing copy, driving sales, using software, delivering presentations, running campaigns. These are useful, but they can change value quickly when markets, technology, or industries shift. Deeper strengths are more like operating systems: curiosity, pattern recognition, taste, empathy, systems thinking, storytelling, judgment, persistence, the ability to organize chaos, the ability to explain difficult ideas simply, the ability to see what matters. Those deeper strengths can travel across many different domains. That is why finding yourself is not always about finding one perfect job title. Sometimes it is about recognizing the underlying abilities that show up again and again in different environments. Once you recognize those, you can apply them through many surface skills. And over time, your work starts to compound because everything is being built on the same internal foundation. This is where life starts to feel very different. When you are disconnected from yourself, effort often feels scattered. You start things, stop things, reset, imitate, and keep wondering whether you are behind. But when your direction is more aligned, your work begins to stack. Each project teaches you something relevant to the next one. Each piece of output becomes part of a larger body of work. Each year strengthens the same core. That is the real power of alignment. It turns random effort into compounding effort. And that is one reason people who find their lane can move so far over time. It is not always because they are working more hours. Sometimes it is because much less of their energy is being lost to internal conflict and sideways comparison. Their effort is not perfect. It is just coherent. And coherence is powerful. At some point, if you stay on this path long enough, something very important starts to happen. Comparison begins to lose its grip, not because other people disappear, not because you become enlightened and never feel insecure again, but because your standards become more internal. You stop asking, "Am I ahead of them?" and start asking, "Am I becoming more myself? Am I building something real? Am I getting closer to the kind of work and life that actually fit me?" That shift is huge because comparison survives on shared scoreboards. The moment your life is organized around a more personal, more honest, more internally grounded direction, many forms of competition simply become less meaningful. You are no longer trying to become a more acceptable version of someone else. You are trying to become a more fully expressed version of yourself. So I think the real goal in life is not to win every race. It is to notice which races are quietly destroying your energy and pulling you away from yourself. The way out of internal competition is not arrogance, and it is not isolation. It is clarity. It is the slow work of understanding your own structure, your own sensitivities, your own deeper strengths, and the kind of contribution that feels natural enough to sustain, but specific enough to become unmistakably yours. And yes, maybe the best time to begin that process was years ago, but the second best time really is now. Because the earlier you stop building your life around borrowed scoreboards, the earlier your energy can come back to you. And when that happens, life stops feeling like constant competition and starts feeling more like authorship. You are not here to become the most efficient copy of someone else. You are here to build a life that becomes more true as you grow. That is not just comforting advice. I think it is one of the most practical ways to reduce comparison, reduce inner conflict, and create a life that actually has strength from the inside out.